I think it's quite obvious to me that this will never happen. At least I hope. I mean, in this General Assembly, we had such a wide difference of voting.
Now, with a digital voting system, you just don't know what happens behind. You just kind of have to trust or have to ask a lot of questions to understand how it's working. How do you ensure now that transparency and trust are maintained?
Well, first of all, decided not to manage this thing alone, and I created a small committee with my colleagues Vinicius Ribeiro from Brazil and Johan König from Germany to, so to say, to look over my shoulder and to make sure that everything was transparent and done in a correct way. Secondly, I was providing you regularly updates with things I received and double checking. Of course, there can always be mistakes, but if you check many times, you're confident that that goes well. In this General Assembly, we had such a wide difference of voting, so the votes were very clear. Be one case, but there were always a huge difference. So it was not, so to say, no disputes, undisputable, so to say.
But what I liked about it is that we did double check, like when we set up all the voters. I always checked if the voting weight was correct, and then you checked as well, because just having four eyes helps a bit, just to see there's no errors, especially when we update for proxies over and over again, and just calculating the voting weight in the end and see that the voting rate just aligns, right?
Absolutely. What I am considering for the future would be to set a deadline a bit earlier, because I realize that last minute variations are always the most tricky ones.
True, but if you need all votes, you just have to go with that.
That's that's the compromise you need to find indeed. But it worked well. You have also been very patient, I must say.
I mean, you've also been patient. So
Yeah.
how do you decide which technologies you want to apply that help your members and which just might overwhelm them?
Huh. That's an interesting question. Basically, we are following the trends. In this case, it's not something pioneeristic having an online voting. It's something that, for an international organization is nearly compulsory. I see that social media, for instance, are gaining year after year momentum, especially, Facebook for our work is crucial, but Instagram more and more is growing, and our communication team is exploring new platforms like LinkedIn. And so, yeah, we are expanding on this. And yeah, of course, you need not overwhelm. Indeed, you need not use too much of that, because most of our passion is analogic, I must say. And so, yeah.
And I think what you're doing right is you go step by step, right? You introduce Facebook, then you introduce Instagram, and now you're trying to roll out LinkedIn to all. I mean, that's what I learned from the General Assembly.
Absolutely. Yeah. You cannot do everything all at once. This would be a disaster. I mean, you need to convince people, seduce them in a way, and help them understand these different aspects. Just to integrate, we also need to remember that most of our members are volunteers. Okay. So they do it out of their free times. So they're not all of them are professional in this kind of thing. So this is also something that plays an important role in our membership.
I mean, the more channels you're using, the more time it needs, right?
Indeed, indeed.
So looking into the future, and this is my last question, will
Mhm.
in-person meeting eventually disappear? Or does face-to-face interaction remain?
Well, I think it's quite obvious to me that this will not, this will never happen. At least I hope. I mean, nothing replaces the face-to-face meeting, the joy of sharing time and space together. I see it in many things, like also online classes, for instance. It's true that the message delivered might be the same, but the experience you have is completely different. There's something also spiritual and ritual in meeting each other, sharing things, and which we don't think can be completely replaced with the digital experiences. What do you think?